Bloomberg. Malaysian opposition leader Anwar Ibrahim was sentenced to 5 years in prison and barred from politics after the country's highest court upheld the conviction for sodomy, effectively ending his ability to challenge the party that has ruled the country for almost 60 years. "I maintain my innocence and this is a political conspiracy," Anwar told a panel of 5 judges during his sentencing by Chief Justice Arifin Zakaria at the federal court in the country's administrative capital of Putrajaya today. The judges walked out as Anwar berated the judiciary. Outside, hundreds of riot police armed with shields and batons sounded warning bells as thousands of Anwar's supporters refused to leave the complex. They carried banners and chanted Reformasi, the Malay word for reform. The jail sentence means Anwar, 67, will be stripped of his parliamentary seat and will be banned from running for office for 5 years after his release, according to Human Rights Watch. His imprisonment adds to the strains Malaysia's opposition parties face in holding together an ideologically varied coalition known as the People's Alliance. The group's biggest shared goal has been to unseat a ruling coalition in office since independence in 1957, even as members disagree among themselves on everything from its agenda to the implementation of Islamic law. At the most recent general elections in 2013, the opposition alliance won the majority of the popular vote even as Prime Minister Najib Razak's Barisan Nasional coalition had a parliamentary majority and its 13th straight victory. Independent Judiciary and Appeals Court last year overturned Anwar's 2012 acquittal on the sodomy charge and sentenced the former deputy prime minister to 5 years in jail. The judges will have reached their verdict only after considering all the evidence in a balanced and objective manner, the Prime Minister's office said in an emailed statement. Malaysia has an independent judiciary, and there have been many rulings against senior government figures. Exhaustive and comprehensive due process had been followed, it said in the statement. Inside the courtroom, Anwar's children cried after the verdict and sentencing. He hugged his aides and party leaders as police escorted him away. Politically motivated, Anwar denied the charges against him, saying they were politically motivated. He was first charged with sodomy, which is illegal in Muslim-majority Malaysia and carries a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison, in 1998. The charges were brought a month after he was fired as former Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamed's deputy after a falling out over the government's response to the Asian financial crisis. He spent the next 6 years in prison on convictions for abuse of power and sodomizing male aides. He was released in 2004 after Mahathir retired and a judge overturned the guilty verdict. The current case against Anwar stems from sodomy allegations against another male in 2008. He was initially cleared of those charges in January 2012 after the Kuala Lumpur High Court ruled there was no evidence to corroborate the claims made by a former aide of a sexual encounter. The Court of Appeal ruled in March last year that the trial judge had erred in doubting the integrity of DNA samples the prosecution presented, and reinstated the conviction.